Hello friends, welcome again to this series of video lectures. Myself Gumre sir, your biology teacher, and we'll continue with the topic that we started other lecture. We started with the respiration and circulation to discuss with. Quick revision, I'll take respiration we started with. In first lecture we discuss what is respiration. We discuss respiration in different animals and plant, how the respiration takes place, and then we discuss human respiratory system in detail. Quick revision again I'll take. I given you the homework for this one. I hope you must have completed the homework. Even one question which was a curiosity question I have given you, you must have attempted in the comment box. You are allowed. Today we'll start with the second part in respiration. As I already told you, we completed respiratory system. Different organs are there in the respiratory system, starting from nose, we call it nostrils. Then we'll have a nasal chamber, then we'll have pharynx, we call nasopharynx. Then we'll have the larynx, sound producing organ. Then we'll have a tube called trachea. Trachea will bifurcate into the bronchi. And then we'll have lungs, two lungs. This is a complete respiratory system. With the help of this system, how the respiration takes place, that will start with the second topic, mechanism of respiration. As we already say, respiration is a biological process that include exchange of gases between atmosphere and lungs, and it will result into the formation of energy, that is in form of ATP. So many times we confuse taking in air through the nose, giving out air is called as respiration. This is incomplete. This is first part of respiration. Complete process is a biological process. The one part is exchange of gases, and the exchange of gases will take place between atmosphere and lungs, and then the oxygen which is there in the air, that will be carried to up to each and every cell, that will be utilized for formation of energy in form of ATP. And this complete mechanism of respiration will be completed in these four steps. Number one is breathing. Number two is called external respiration. Number three is called internal respiration. Number four is cellular respiration. How these thing takes place, that we'll study one by one. First step is breathing. Intake of air in the lungs and giving out of air from the lung. This is the first step. We call it as breathing. I'll repeat. Whatever the air that we take in the lung, this is a half part. We call inspiration. Giving out air from the lung, this is another half part. This is called expiration. And together this taking air in and giving out air from lung, we call scientifically inspiration and expiration. Together that will form first step of respiration, we call breathing. I'll repeat. Inspiration and expiration together is called breathing. In other words, intake of air in lung, giving out air from the lung, this is called as breathing. Remember, lungs are without any muscle. They do not contract and relax on their own. All the things present here in this thoracic cavity, we already say total body cavity divided into two, upper thoracic cavity, lower abdominal cavity. By the flap of muscle here, this is called diaphragm. And total the thoracic cavity will help for the first step, that is called breathing. Which all things are involved here? This is the thoracic cage, the one which is made up of ribs from the side. We'll have a main bone here, flat bone, that we discuss in 11th standard. This is called sternum bone. Then we'll have ribs, and in between the ribs we'll have a type of muscle. These are called intercostal muscle. Even the flap of a muscle I told you here, this is called a diaphragm. All these different parts are involved in the process of breathing, that will carry these two steps, inspiration and expiration. What is inspiration? What is inspiration? What is expiration? We'll study in form of a chart, differentiate between chart. One by one we'll complete, and then we'll study differentiate between. Inspiration is the first step. During this, air rich in the oxygen is taken into the lung. I'll show you. This is the first part we call inspiration, where air rich in the oxygen is taken into the lungs. Now what happened, how it is brought about, that is with the help of different things I told you just now. During this, whatever those intercostal muscles are there, specifically external intercostal muscle, they will contract. I'll repeat, external intercostal muscle, they will contract. Now, that will draw the ribs and sternum outward and upward. I'll show you. When these intercostal muscle they contract, ribs they come outward, sternum becomes upward, and that what happens to that we'll discuss. But remember, first step is external intercostal muscle will contract, that will draw ribs and sternum outward and upward. Next step, diaphragm will contract, this will become flat. I'm going to show you the diagrammatic representation. But remember, whatever this diaphragm is there, that will contract, that will become flat, that will go down. The one which is normally arch, that will become flat. So diaphragm contract and that become flat. Now naturally what happens, see, the ribs are outward, sternum is upward, the diaphragm is down, so volume of a thoracic cavity will increase. Whatever volume of thoracic cavity, that will increase. Definitely what will happen, that will lower the pressure, which is present in the lungs. Volume of a lung will try to increase. As I already told you, lungs are made up of squamous epithelium lining, and we don't have muscles there. The volume of a lungs will increase, and all the way air from outside will rush into the lungs. How could be the path, that I have not given here? As I already told you, ribs will become outward, sternum will come up, volume of a thoracic cavity increase, and the air will pass all the way through the upper and lower respiratory tract into the lung. The path will be from atmosphere to the nostril, to the nasal chamber, to the nasopharynx, to the larynx, to the trachea, to the bronchi, to the bronchioles, finally air sac, and into the individual alveoli. This will complete inspiration, as you must have seen, as we already studied. The process which require expenditure of energy is for active process. During we take the air, we need to contract the muscle, we require energy. So remember, inspiration is a active process. Once again I'll repeat, the air rich in oxygen which is taken into the lung, this is called inspiration. Exactly opposite will take place when air rich in the carbon dioxide. Now remember, exchange will take place, that we are going to discuss in next topic. Exchange of air will take place, and the air which come into the lungs now, this will be carbon dioxide containing air, and this air rich in the carbon dioxide will be given out from the lung. This step is called expiration. I'll repeat, the air rich in the carbon dioxide will be given out from the lung. This is called expiration. Exactly opposite will take place what happened in inspiration. During this, now intercostal muscle will relax. See, if this muscle relax, what will happen? Exactly opposite to the inspiration, ribs will become downward and inward. That means they will come to their original position. See, the ribs will come to the normal position, diaphragm will relax, and this diaphragm will push upward. That will become dome shape. This is flat shape, this is dome shape. So diaphragm will relax, that will become a dome shape, and this will cause decrease in the volume of a thoracic cavity. See, the volume will decrease. Definitely pressure will be created on the lungs, and this pressure on the lungs will push the air from lungs to the outside, and this step is called as expiration. I'll repeat, air rich in carbon dioxide will be given out. Remember, exactly opposite to the inspiration, this will be a passive process. No need of expenditure of energy, so this is passive process. Only last point here, the path will be exactly opposite. Now air present from the lungs will come to that total air sac. From there it will come to bronchiole, that will come to the bronchi, that will come to trachea, that will come to larynx, that will come to pharynx. Through the nasopharynx, it will be given into nasal chamber and outside with the help of external layer of nostril. This is something inspiration and expiration together that will form the first step called as breathing. Next, this is the diagram that is showing how the inspiration and expiration complete. Here is the muscle which are contracted, so the ribs become outward. The diaphragm a little bit contracted, so it become not that much flat, but it comes down, and that way the volume of thoracic cavity increases. That will take the air inside. This is called inspiration. Exactly opposite, the muscles now relax, so the ribs they come inward. The diaphragm come to the normal position, that become dome shape. Volume of a thoracic cavity decreases, and that will give out the air, that is called expiration. First step is called as breathing. Next, and then we'll have a second step called external respiration. Here we include exchange of gases. Important point, I'll read it out. Alveolus, as we already say, made up of a squamous epithelium. The one which is with a thin wall, and that will together form the respiratory surface. As we already studied in 11th standard, this is meant for gaseous exchange. And what happen here, we'll have a type of exchange in form of diffusion, movement from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Diffusion of gases that will take place from area of higher partial pressure to the area where we have a lower partial pressure, means from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Now remember, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in pulmonary capillary which will bring the blood from heart, from the different body to heart and heart to the lung. The one which will have a pressure of 45 millimeter of mercury. The one which is with alveolar air, that is with the pressure 40 mm of mercury. And so definitely movement of carbon dioxide will take place from pulmonary capillary to the alveolar air, means from inside the body to the outside. Similarly, we will have a partial pressure of oxygen in pulmonary capillary, that is 40 mm of mercury, while in the air we will have 104 mm of Hg. So tell me, from where the movement will take place? The movement will take place from alveolar air to the capillary. So remember, this step is called as external respiration, as the surface of lungs is nothing but an exterior of our body. The type of respiration is called external respiration. In other words, it is the exchange of gases at the alveolar level. The thing I am showing with the help of a diagram from the textbook. Here is a membrane made up of a layer of a squamous epithelium. You feel it is 2-3. This is three-dimensional a little bit. This is the capillary we are showing. Half part we are showing. These are the RBC which are without any oxygen. This is the RBC which is containing carbon dioxide, and the RBC which is carrying the oxygen here. So how the exchange will take place? Individual alveolus will get the air that is rich in oxygen. Oxygen will diffuse here, that will be taken by RBC. This RBC will carry this oxygen to the body. On other hand, the RBC which are carrying this carbon dioxide, that will go out, that will come in alveolar air first, that will be given outside the body. The diagram will give you idea about exchange of gases that is taking place between alveolus and capillary. Okay. Then we'll have internal respiration with the help of, I told you, help will be from transport system. All the way oxygen which is taken will be taken to up to each and every cell. Now, as I already told you, transport of gases will be included here in the internal respiration. The oxygen will be carried to up to each and every cell. Carbon dioxide will be carried from each and every cell to up to the lungs. And all the different components that will be involved here for internal respiration, that will be the blood. Type of a cell, RBC, we call red blood corpuscle. And then the blood fluid called as plasma, We are going to discuss in next chapter these things. They all are involved in the transport of respiratory gases, mainly carbon dioxide and oxygen. How it takes place, that we'll study. First one we'll discuss transport of oxygen. I told you only 3% of oxygen will be transported in form of dissolved state in the plasma. And remember, for transport of oxygen, we'll have a special type of a cell present in the transport system blood. These are called RBC, red blood corpuscle. We also call it a erythrocyte. Erythros means red. And here, 97% of a transport will be carried with the help of RBC. And for that purpose, RBC carry a special protein that is called hemoglobin. As we all know, hemoglobin is red in color, so RBCs are red in color. Hemoglobin have a great affinity for oxygen, and that will act as a respiratory carrier. Oxygen will combine with hemoglobin to form a complex. Remember, this is called oxyhemoglobin complex. We write HbO2 complex, but call it as oxyhemoglobin complex. Important multiple choice question. One molecule of hemoglobin generally carry 4 molecules of iron, and that way each will pick up 1 molecule of oxygen. That way we'll have 1 hemoglobin carrying 4 molecules of oxygen. Simple equation, Hb will react with 4 molecules of oxygen forming HbO2 complex, that is called oxyhemoglobin complex. Remember, this oxyhemoglobin complex is transported all the way from lungs to up to the tissue, where it readily dissolve to release the oxygen, because this is a temporary complex formed at the level of a lung and broken down at the level of a cell. Remember, this is transport of oxygen. Next, transport of a carbon dioxide will take place in form of soluble in water, and this will be transported with the help of three different ways. No doubt it will be carried with the help of RBC, but we'll have a 3 different ways. One by one we'll discuss 3 different ways of a transport of carbon dioxide from cell to up to the lungs. Number 1, it is in form of plasma solution. 7% of a carbon dioxide will be carried in form of dissolved in plasma, where carbon dioxide transported in form of carbonic acid, which will break into carbon dioxide and water at a level of lungs. Here, what happens, as soon as the carbon dioxide and water is given out from the cell, that will react to form acid, weak acid we call carbonic acid, and this will be carried with the help of a plasma to up to the lung, where it will again break, and that will release carbon dioxide and water. So remember, only 7% carbon dioxide that will be carried in form of solution dissolved in plasma. Next, second way, and the one which is carried in form of carbonic ion. 70% of a transport of carbon dioxide, equation that we need to remember, 70% transport of carbon dioxide will be in form of carbonic ion, where carbonic ion, which is unstable and dissociate into carbonate ion SCO3 minus and H plus hydrogen ion. The enzyme required here, remember, important enzyme, carbonic anhydrase, and the one which will form these particular ion inside the RBC. Actually, this enzyme is present in RBC, so that will be carried with the help of RBC. So here are the reverse equation that I am giving. Carbon dioxide react with water to form carbonic acid, that will split into H plus and SCO3 minus carbonic ion. Now, it cannot move in form of carbonic ion, the one which will move with the help of RBC, but carbonic ion need to react with either sodium or potassium, and the one which will form sodium or potassium bicarbonate. I'll repeat, carbonic ion will react with either sodium or potassium, and that will form the sodium or potassium bicarbonate accordingly. So remember, the carbonic ion cannot be carried as it is, that will travel in form of bicarbonate ion. Next, that will hydrogen, which is formed here, that will be carried all the way to up to the level of lungs in form of hemoglobin complex. Hydrogen will go and that will reach to up to the level of lung. That might expected to lower the pH, but it will buffered by hemoglobin, so that there is a formation of deoxyhemoglobin, reduced hemoglobin, and that will not reduce the pH of blood. Again, at the level of lungs, what happens? This sodium bicarbonate that I am showing, that will react with the hydrogen. Sodium ion will be formed, that will be free again to carry another molecule of bicarbonate, the one which will form by the carbonic acid again. Carbonic acid will split into carbon dioxide and water. I am showing upper arrow here. This indicates that both are in a gaseous state, that will be given outside from the lung into the alveolar layer. Third and the last possibility that we have, where the carbon dioxide will be carried in form of RBC. 23% transport will be carried with the help of RBC. Carbon dioxide will bind with the amino group of a hemoglobin, and that will form loosely bound compound carbaminohemoglobin. Up till now we discussed three. Keep the list of these one. Number one, oxyhemoglobin. Second, carbaminohemoglobin. Again, it is radially decomposed in the area with a low partial pressure of CO2, that is in alveolar air, releasing the carbon dioxide. So equation will be simple. Hemoglobin react with carbon dioxide to form carbaminohemoglobin, that will be carried up to the lung, and that will give out the carbon dioxide again. Next, and then we will discuss cellular respiration. This is the last step where actual ATP will be generated. The thing takes place inside the cell, so it is called a cellular respiration. The thing will take place in two steps. Number one is oxidation. Whatever that taken oxygen up to the each cell will be now utilized to break down complex organic molecule into the simple inorganic molecule, and the one which will release the energy. So remember here C6H12O6, this is the glucose molecule broken down with the help of 6 molecule of oxygen. Carbon dioxide and water will be formed. How they are transported we already discussed. 686 kilocalorie energy I told you, that will be produced here. 686 kilocalorie energy is equivalent to how many ATP, that I already told you. You can comment in the comment box. But remember, this energy will not be produced at one stroke. This will be produced stepwise manner. This is the first step, that is co-oxidation. Second, the phosphorylation, the one which will involve trapping the heat energy into the form of a high energy bond of ATP molecule, and here ATP is used to carry out vital life processes, so called energy currency of a cell. I'll repeat, ATP is called energy currency of a cell. Here one ADP molecule will be joined with inorganic phosphate, that will produce 7.3 kilocalorie energy, that will consume 7.3 kilocalorie energy, and that will produce one molecule of ATP. We'll have again ATP utilized to produce ADP inorganic phosphate, and 7.3 kilocalorie energy produced, that will be utilized for different life activities. That's it. Here we are up to second part of a chapter we completed, mechanism of a respiration. Quickly I'll repeat, mechanism completes in 4 different steps. First step is called breathing, which include inspiration and expiration. Second, we said it is external respiration. At the level of a lung, exchange of gases takes place. Exchange of gases will take place from lung to up to the each and every cell, that is internal respiration. And actual utilization of oxygen, release of carbon dioxide will take place in the cell, that is called cellular respiration. Here we are up to, we completed mechanism of respiration. A remaining topic related with disorders and few things here and there, that will complete in the next lecture. Before that, note down the homework number 2. Today we will have 3 questions only. Differentiate between inspiration and expiration. Number 2, explain process of exchange of gases at the alveolar level. I'll give you the hint, oxygen will be taken in, carbon dioxide will be given out. We are talking about external respiration. And write 2 short notes. Number 1, transport of oxygen, and number 2, transport of carbon dioxide. Next lecture we will start with regulation of breathing onwards. If at all you have any difficulty, you can write in comment box. Curiosity question also you need to answer in comment box. We'll stop here. We'll continue next lecture with regulation of breathing. Thank you.